MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 114, Dan Miller versus Michael Bisbing. Guys, let's talk about this fight for a minute. First round, striking war. These guys were just standing up with each other, and that's all they were doing. It surprised me a bit since Miller's a grappler, known for his submissions, and there was really no hint for a takedown at all. That kind of surprised me because Bisbing is really in his element with striking. I mean, he stood toe-to-toe with Wanderlei Silva, almost won that fight, which was really close. So I didn't understand the strategy, the fact that he didn't go for any takedowns. But anyway, the first round ended, which is what was expected, with Bisbing winning that striking war and landing the more decisive strikes and taking that first round. Second round starts the round with some good leg kicks, and as the round progresses, it's just basically stand up again. It seemed like he was going for some takedowns, but Bisbing was just shrugging them off. It just didn't seem that he had any chance to get him down. It wasn't until 220 that Miller attempts to grapple. About 218, Bisbing lands a big right. That was a knockout caliber punch, so it's a testament to Miller's tough chin and toughness to take that, to shrug it off and continue to fight. It was actually at the buzzer, end of the second round, where Miller lands a big shot and Bisbing absorbs it, and the round ends. Third round, about 4:30, Bisbing gets caught with another shot. Another knockout caliber blow, but Bisbing absorbed it. I think it looked like he was hurt, but he just continued to fight. And then finally, 218, you see Miller get a takedown. It was a decisive takedown, a good one. Gets him down, but he can't do anything with it. Couldn't land anything. Bisbing's guard was very good. They both stood up again, and Miller tried to continue to do something with his grappling, which was already locked on, by pushing him up against the cage. But it just didn't do any good, and Bisbing was able to muscle him, turn him around, get him against the cage, and then they just started to stand up again, which was not good for Miller. So basically, they continued to fight, and Miller saw it was a bit desperation. He knew he was down 2 rounds, so he starts to attack Bisbing towards the end. Basically, the fight ends, and it went to unanimous decision, and Bisbing took the decision. Now, this was a great fight, guys. It was very close, and there's certain things that I learned from watching these two fighters. First of all, Bisbing seems to be making the same mistakes every time. He did it against Henderson and got caught. He did it against Kang, got caught, but Kang doesn't have the knockout power that Henderson has. And he made the same mistake against Miller, but Miller obviously doesn't have the knockout power either. When he hit him with that big right, he put all his weight into it. It was one of those really big right knockout caliber blows, and it hurt Bisbing but didn't knock him out. He has to learn to protect his left side. He just seems to get hit right here. He's not quick enough to protect himself. He has his hand down. His head movement is not good enough to protect himself, and they're able to time it and hit him. And all 3 fighters, besides Silva, Wanderlei Silva, he did okay against. Miller, maybe he had less respect for his striking abilities, so he was more focused on something else on the attack rather than protecting himself. So he still has to watch himself, because you can get knocked out by anybody if it just lands in the right spot. It's not a matter of really how hard the person hits you, which is another factor. Now, as far as Miller had a chance in this fight. He just wasn't aggressive enough. He had to attack, and the reason he should have been more aggressive is because Bisbing really wasn't hurting him. Bisbing really wasn't a threat to knock him out. I mean, he landed some big shots, and he was able to absorb them. When you taste another man's power, okay, and you're able to absorb it, you should continue to fight and be aggressive, because there's no real threat that you're going to get knocked out based on getting hit already. So he should have been more aggressive. You saw it at the end of the third. He was trying to corner Bisbing, and he was getting closer to the cage, and that was the strategy that Silva did at the end of the fight, which won him the fight. This was a close fight. Miller pressed the issue. If Miller pressed Bisbing, he would have been more successful at the end of the fight, and of course earlier in the fight, but of course he didn't know if he can handle the striking of Bisbing, and he was getting hit a lot, and he was able to absorb it. Now, there's been rumors about Miller. If he didn't win this fight, he might get cut. I don't agree with it. I think this guy's a tough guy. He took a lot of punishment. Okay, he did get a takedown. We know Bisbing's very good on his guard. I just thought he had to be more aggressive. He looked good in the fight. His cardio was good. He was strong. I think cutting him would be a big mistake. I know he's had some rough times lately, in the octagon, his personal life, the whole thing. But this guy should definitely continue to fight. It was a good fight, and we will hopefully see him fight another day. So would like to know what you thought about this fight and the UFC 114 card. Please rate this video, leave your comments and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.